Some of the most trusted sardine brands in America don't contain a single true sardine, and a few of them charge you a premium to do it. Every tin looks the same: a silverfish, a little oil, a health food halo. But turn one over and a different picture shows up. A species you weren't expecting, an oil that was never an olive. Sprat listed first, soybean oil listed second, sugar and cornstarch, and a recall over the bacteria that causes botulism. Today, we're counting down 7 canned sardine brands you should think twice about. Saving the worst for last, an American icon whose tin holds a fish that isn't a sardine, in an oil that isn't olive. Then, the 2 brands that are actually real sardines, from the best everyday tin to the single best you can buy. Every fact here comes straight from the ingredient label. Let's get into it. Number 7, King Oscar. And this is the one that surprises people the most, because King Oscar is supposed to be the good one. You know the tin. The little Norwegian king on the front, the royal seal, the word premium. It's been sold since 1902, and it usually costs 2 or 3 times what the cheap tins cost. You grab it thinking you've made the smart, grown-up choice. Before we go any further, here's the standard, and King Oscar is the perfect brand to test it on. A real sardine is a specific fish. The gold standard is Sardina pilchartis, the true sardine, the one Portugal and Spain and Morocco have been canning for a century. A couple of close cousins count too, like Sardinops sagax, the Pacific sardine. And a real tin does 3 simple things. It packs that fish in olive oil or plain water. It names the actual species on the label. And it can tell you where the fish was caught. That's the bar. Now watch how King Oscar does against it. Here's the catch. King Oscar's flagship product is bristling sardines. And King Oscar isn't hiding anything. It says bristling right there on the tin. The problem is that almost nobody knows what bristling means. Bristling is Spratus spratus. That is a sprat. It is a different fish from the true sardine, from a different branch of the herring family, pulled mostly from the Baltic and the North Sea. So the fish is fine. The quality is real. These are hand-packed, and plenty of people love them. King Oscar actually clears 2 of my 3 tests. It names the species honestly, and it packs it with care. It just fails the first one, the one that matters most. That fish is not a true sardine. So if you are paying a premium because you think the king on the tin means you're getting the classic Mediterranean sardine, let me be precise, because precision matters. You are not. You're getting a sprat with a crown on it. And that royal Norwegian heritage on the front? King Oscar has been owned since 2014 by Thai Union, a seafood giant based in Thailand. Hold that name. You're going to hear it again. King Oscar is the mildest offender on this list. It gets a lot more serious from here, starting with a household name that doesn't even bother charging you a premium and whose label quietly tells on itself. Number 6, Chicken of the Sea. This is a brand your family has probably trusted for decades. It's on every shelf. The name alone feels safe. So let's do the thing the marketing hopes you never do. Let's read the ingredients. Pick up the Chicken of the Sea Mediterranean-style sardines and read the very first line. The fish is listed in plain Latin on the label as Spratus spratus or Clupea harengus. Read that again. Sprat or Atlantic herring, not Sardina pilchartis, not a true sardine at all. The label is telling you, in a language it's betting you won't read, that this isn't the fish you think it is. Now read what comes next. Soybean oil. It's listed before the extra virgin olive oil, which means there's more cheap, refined soybean oil in that tin than the good stuff. And their tomato version stacks on sugar and cornstarch on top of the soybean oil. You came for a lean, simple fish. You left with a fish you can't name, sitting in an industrial seed oil, sweetened. And the ownership? Chicken of the Sea is owned by Thai Union, the same Thai Union that owns King Oscar. So two of the biggest sardine names in the country, the cheap one and the premium one, trace back to the exact same conglomerate. One more thing, and it's not about the fish, it's about the company. Chicken of the Sea was one of the 3 big packaged seafood companies caught in a federal price-fixing conspiracy. And Chicken of the Sea was the one that turned informant. It cooperated with the Justice Department and paid no criminal fine at all. Remember that the others weren't so lucky. The next brand won't even tell you what fish is inside. It just prints one vague word and hopes you fill in the rest. Number 5, Goya. Goya sells a big, cheap 15-ounce can of sardines in tomato sauce, and it calls the line premium. People buy it by the case. And on paper, sardines in tomato sauce sounds like exactly the honest, old-school food you want. So read the label. The ingredient list names the fish as, and this is the whole word they use, sardine. That's it. No species, no Latin name, no Sardina pilchartus, no Sardinops, nothing. Just the word sardine and a trust me. When a brand won't name the species, that's a choice. Naming it costs nothing. Not naming it buys them the freedom to use whatever small silver fish is cheapest that season. And the sauce that fish is swimming in? The tomato sauce is cut with soybean oil. Again, the cheap refined oil, doing the job that olive oil does in a real tin. So you've got an unnamed fish in a seed oil sauce in a giant value can. It's not dangerous, it's just not what premium is supposed to mean. You're buying a mystery. Now the next 2 tins look like the most classic American sardines on the shelf. Same little fish, same simple label. Except the fish inside isn't a sardine. And they have something else in common that we'll get to at number 1. Number 4, Brunswick. Brunswick is the tin that looks the part. Plain wrapper, the word sardines in big letters, a price that makes it feel like a smart buy. This is the everyday sardine a lot of people grew up on. Here's what's actually in it. Brunswick's standard sardines are Atlantic herring, Clupea herringus, caught in the Northeast Atlantic, packed in Poland, and shipped over as sardines because United States labeling rules let a whole range of small herring family fish carry that name. It is legal. It is also not a sardine in the way you picture a sardine. And the packing oil on the standard tins is soybean oil. Then the flavored versions, the mustard, the hot sauce, the tomato, layer on more sauce, more starch, more added ingredients to carry a fish that doesn't have much going for it on its own. Break a Brunswick fillet apart with a fork and you can see it. It's a bigger, softer, blander fish than a true sardine, because it is a different fish. You're eating herring that's been given a fancier name. And that cheaper cousin sitting right next to it on the shelf? Same trick, except it went even smaller and even cheaper. If this breakdown is useful so far, a quick like genuinely helps this investigation reach more people who are getting fooled at the shelf. That's all it takes. Now, back to it. Number 3, Beach Cliff. Beach Cliff is the tin you grab when you truly don't care. It's often the cheapest sardine in the whole store, sometimes around $1.25. and it says Sardines right on the front, in soybean oil, wild-caught, high protein. Sounds like a bargain. Read the fine print, though, and Beechcliff has quietly become one of the biggest bait and switches in the aisle. These tins have been packed with herring, and more recently, longtime buyers noticed the fish had changed again, this time to sprats, the same Spratus spratus we found hiding in the premium King Oster tin. Same little sprat, 1/10 the price. Both still calling themselves sardines. So on this one shelf, you've now got a premium tin and a dollar tin selling you the same fish under the same borrowed name. One dressed up, one stripped bare. Both drowning in that cheap soybean oil. Here's a test you can run at home. Open a Beechcliff tin and press the fish with a fork. On the cheapest tins, it barely resists. It's soft, it breaks into mush, and it tastes mostly of oil and salt. That's what happens when the fish is small, generic, and packed for price instead of quality. Which brings us to number 2, the most anonymous tin of all. Because at least Beechcliff prints a name on the front. The next one hides almost everything. Number 2, the store brand, a house label, great value, and every no-name dollar store tin that looks just like it. This is the sardine millions of people actually buy, because it's $1 something, and it's right there. And it is the single most opaque product in the category. Take great value sardines in oil. Read the label. The oil is soybean oil. The species is, once again, not named, just sardines. And the country of origin? Wild caught in Thailand, then canned and shipped halfway around the world to sit on a shelf for $1.18. The mustard version adds mustard powder and acetic acid on top of the soybean oil. The dollar store tins are even barer. Some list nothing but sardines, soybean oil, salt, from supply chains you cannot trace even if you try. Now, none of that makes it poison. You will get protein. But think about what you actually cannot answer about that tin. You cannot tell what fish it is. You cannot tell where it was caught beyond a country. You cannot tell how old it was when it went in the can. You are trusting the cheapest possible supply chain to do the right thing when nobody's looking. And in seafood, the cheapest possible supply chain is exactly where the corner cutting lives. Which brings us finally to number 1, the worst on the list. And when you see who owns it and what it has actually been convicted of, the whole shelf suddenly makes sense. Number 1, Bumble Bee. This is the big one, the name your parents trusted. Founded 1899, an American icon on the shelf in every grocery store in the country. If any brand on earth should be beyond reproach, it's this one. So let me lay out the record, and let me be careful about what is proven and what is only alleged, because the difference matters. Start with who owns it. Bumble Bee went bankrupt in 2019. In 2020, it was bought for close to $1 billion by a Taiwanese tuna conglomerate called FCF. That all-American icon is now foreign-owned top to bottom. Why did it go bankrupt? Because Bumble Bee pleaded guilty to a federal crime. It admitted to fixing the price of canned seafood in a conspiracy with its 2 biggest rivals. And it paid a $25 million criminal fine. Its former chief executive fought the charges, lost, and was sentenced to 40 months in federal prison. That is not a rumor. That is a guilty plea and a conviction on the record. Now, precision, because it's the whole point of this channel. That price-fixing case was about canned tuna, not the sardine tin in your hand. But it's the same company, the same leadership culture, the same habit of squeezing every last cent out of a can of fish. Then there's the lawsuit. In 2025, 4 Indonesian fishermen sued Bumble Bee in federal court, alleging forced labor in the fishing operation that supplies it. They describe debt bondage, wages withheld, threats, and injuries left untreated at sea. Careful here, these are allegations. Bumble Bee denies them and is fighting the case. A judge has not found the company guilty of anything. What a judge did do in November of last year is refuse to throw the case out, which means it moves forward. Again, this is the tuna side of the business, but it's the same owner, the same supply chain, the same factory, and on the sardine side specifically, Bumble Bee's Canadian sister brand, Cloverleaf, recalled 2 flavors of its boneless sardines after it was determined the cans could allow the growth of Clostridium botulinum. That is the bacteria that causes botulism, a packing failure serious enough to pull the product off the shelf. Here's the payoff that ties this whole list together. Remember number 4 and number 3, Brunswick and Beechcliff, the herring and the sprats hiding at Sardines? Bumble Bee owns them both. And number 6 and number 7, Chicken of the Sea and King Oscar, both owned by Thai Union. So 5 of the 7 brands on this list, the cheap ones and the premium ones, trace back to just 2 foreign conglomerates. The shelf looks like a dozen choices. It's really about 2. Before I hand you the good news, let me kill one myth fast, because a lot of people spread it and it's simply wrong. You've probably heard that sardines are loaded with mercury and heavy metals. That's backwards. Sardines are one of the cleanest fish in the sea for mercury. The FDA's own testing puts the average sardine at about 0.013 parts per million. The level at which the FDA takes action is 1.0. Even the single highest mercury sardine they ever tested came in under 1/10 of that limit. Sardines carry roughly 25 times less mercury than white albacore tuna, and the FDA lists them in its very safest tier, the best choices, fine to eat 2 or 3 times a week, pregnancy included. So the fish was never the problem. The fish is a superfood. The problem is what the packer does to it, which is exactly why the next 2 brands matter. Now the payoff. The 2 brands that are actually real sardines, from the best everyday tin to the single best you can buy. Number 2, Wild Planet. This is the one you can find at a normal store, at a normal price, that still does everything right. Turn the tin over, and the ingredient list is almost boring. Sardines, extra virgin olive oil, sea salt. That's it. No soybean oil, no sauce, no mystery. And the fish is a real sardine. Their whole sardines are Sardinops sagax, the Pacific sardine, a genuine sardine. Their boneless tins are Sardina pilchartus, the true sardine, caught off Morocco. They fish with single species methods that avoid scooping up everything else in the ocean. And their sardines are rated a best choice for sustainability by the Monterey Bay Aquarium's Seafood Watch program. If you want the cheaper everyday alternative, Season brand does the same honest thing. It names its fish as Sardina pilchartus, packs it in extra virgin olive oil, sources it from Morocco, and it's certified sustainable by Friend of the Sea. 22 grams of protein, 1,700 milligrams of omega-3s, real calcium, and a label with nothing to hide. Either one of these outclasses every tin in the first half of this video. But there's one brand that goes further. One that treats a sardine the way it was treated 100 years ago. Number 1, Nuri. Made by Conservas Pinhais in Portugal. This is the best canned sardine you can buy, and it isn't close.
Nuri has been made in Matosinhos on the Portuguese coast since 1920 by a process that has barely changed in a century. The fish is Sardina pilchardas, the true sardine, caught in the cold Atlantic right off that coast. It's brought in fresh, cleaned by hand, gently steam cooked, and packed by hand, tin by tin, then wrapped by hand in paper. It cost more, and it should, because a person actually made it. Open one and you'll understand instantly. The fillets are whole and firm. They hold their shape on a fork instead of dissolving into mush. There's no harsh, tinny, fishy smell because the fish was fresh and handled with care. Hold the oil up to the light and it runs clear and golden, real olive oil, not cloudy seed oil.
This is what a sardine is supposed to be. If nuri is hard to find or over your budget, Goya is the step down that's still the real thing. It's a family-owned Portuguese brand sold in a lot of Whole Foods using the same true sardine, Sardina pilchardas, in organic extra virgin olive oil. And it's certified sustainable by the Marine Stewardship Council. A true sardine, honestly labeled, from a fishery you can actually check. So here's the one rule to remember, and if you take nothing else from this video, take this. You never need to watch a breakdown like this again if you just do one thing at the shelf. Turn the tin over and read the first line of the ingredients. If the fish isn't named as a real sardine, Sardina pilchardas or Sardinops sagax, and if the oil isn't olive oil or plain water, put it back down. That's the whole test. One species, one oil. 2 seconds in your hand tells you more than the entire front of the label spent years trying to hide. The front of the tin is marketing. The back of the tin is the truth. And if a shelf full of fake sardines makes you a little angry on your own behalf, good. Because the exact same operation is running one aisle over. That bottle of extra virgin olive oil you trust? A huge share of it isn't extra virgin, and some of it isn't even fully olive oil. Same trick, same fine print, far bigger money. That investigation is coming next, and it will change how you shop forever. If this saved you from wasting money on a tin of dressed-up sprats, do 2 quick things. Subscribe so the olive oil breakdown lands in your feed the day it drops. And share this with the one person in your life who buys sardines by the case and has never once flipped the can over. They'll thank you at the shelf.